Last week, I started updating Twilight House, one of my favorite Mario Kart battle courses, and today I want to add some more details and round some edges. The first thing I wanted to do here was improve the forest below the track. I felt like this forest didn't do a good job representing what I love about the original. I want to make this forest a bit more realistic. The first thing I did was try and replace the strip of trees with the creepy pine trees from the original skybox. I separated these in Photoshop by using color range under the select menu to get rid of most of the background. Then I manually erased what was left. I continued trying to make this forest look more realistic, adding just a bit of color and importing some new trees from Sherbetland. But as I went on, things just kept looking worse and worse, and I knew these kinds of things could take a long time to get just right. So I went back to the black forest look. But things do look better now. Well, if I can't do much to improve what's outside the stage, let's see what else can be done inside. Starting with the wall around the edges of the track. You guys pointed out that this Booster Course Pass version has this little wall up around the edges, which sorta ruins the fun. The fun of plummeting off the cliff to your death. It's funner than it sounds. Now that that's gone, I want to make some changes to that main house in the center. I want to open it up and make it an actual room. This could go horribly wrong, but we'll give it a go. I started by getting rid of this window here. Then I brought the trim back to the left and duplicated it over to the right to make some room for the doorway. Now I can use a cube to boolean out the entrance. I used another couple of cubes to create the doorway, which I put the wood material on. Now that we've got an entrance, I can start putting some trim around the walls. But I don't want this to just be a box with one entrance. So I deleted the wall and middle window on the other side before duplicating this doorway wall and moving it over there. Overall, the inside of this building is a mess. It's gonna take some work to at least have it not look terrible, because there's all kinds of geometry sticking through the walls and ceiling that they've just kinda tucked into this building, since you aren't supposed to be in here. The worst part is definitely the ceiling. So I decided the best way to hide these things was to select the ceiling and duplicate it. That way I can bring it down and just kind of hide all of that stuff up there instead of fixing any of it. Now I want to do some kind of light in here, like a chandelier in the middle of the room. I found one over in Twisted Mansion and brought it over and got it set up. But then I noticed that these walls over here are screwy beyond anything I've ever seen. There's somehow this going on, and this over here. I tried for a minute to fix this, but the easy way is just to replace these walls. So I selected the old glitchy wall, set the cursor on it, and moved the new one to the cursor using Shift S. Now that that's fixed, I can get back to cleaning up the inside of the middle building. The corners looked pretty bad, so I put down some pillars, which look nice and also make things look a bit cleaner. After flipping some inverted normals and making some more little adjustments, I noticed that the windows on the central building aren't quite right. They're supposed to have a yellow to red gradient, so I made one in Photoshop and threw it over to Blender. That's better, but not quite there. I need to bring back those Shine Sprite emblems. So I went to the models resource and found a Shine Sprite model that's used in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. I imported it and deleted the back half of it, since it's gonna sit against the wall anyways. I also used the Decimate modifier on it to optimize it just a little bit further. Then I put the gold texture on it, but it was a little bit too bright, so I made a darker version of that texture. I deleted the old design here and made a cylinder with an inset face that's got an emission texture on it. Then I placed this new emblem where all of the old ones were and put some lights on them, but this center building still doesn't quite feel finished. So I made this cool wall design thing to make the room a bit creepier. Now I'm ready to set up some renders. And that's all for this week. I'm excited to focus more on the modding side of things when I come back to Delfino Square. Anyways, I hope you all have a great Halloween. I'll talk to you later. Thanks.